Good morning, Year 3, and welcome to our marvellous Monday Maths. I hope you've all had a lovely half term, had a nice break, and put your feet up for a week. It's back to learning now, and of course, Mr. Craig, as usual, teaches you maths on a Monday on our live lessons. Now, we're moving on from what we did last half term to looking at shapes. Now, I know you all love learning about shapes in school. So what we're going to do first of all is we're going to, as usual, read the learning objective. So you pause the video and you have a go and then come back to the video and I'm going to show you how to model and how to read it nice and clearly and loudly to your parent or to yourself. Pause the video. Okay, over to me. Learning objective. I can identify and describe 2D shapes using knowledge of properties, including number of sides. Hopefully you all read that confidently, and we're going to introduce our topic and our unit now. To get our brains in gear this morning, we're going to play a quick game of Guess Who. Now, great if you've played this before, but if you haven't, I'm going to quickly run through some rules that we need to follow to enable us to play this. So, the first rule is I am going to say 3 different clues to help you understand and to guess who the person is that I'm talking about. Now, this game is purposefully to help us understand how we identify features and properties of someone before we look at the properties and features of a shape. So it's really important that we understand how we do this skill and how we can execute it through this simple game and this fun game. So I'm going to give you 3 clues, then I'm going to pause, and then you need to look at the board and you need to pick out the person that I'm talking about. So let's have a go and have an example now with me. So the first clue that I've got for you is it is a girl. Now, this girl has blonde hair. And this girl has very short hair. Pause the video, point to the person that you think I am talking about, and then come back to the video and I'll let you know who I was talking about. Okay, so looking at the board, the person that I was talking about was Tamsin. So give yourself a pat on the back if you got that correct. If you didn't get it correct, then just listen a bit more closely to my clues that I'm giving you. I'm going to do one more example and then I'm going to give it over to you to have a go with your parents or with your siblings at home. So the next person that I'm talking about, the first clue is it is a boy. Now this boy also has blonde hair. And this boy has glasses on. So pause the video, think about the 3 clues that I've come up with, the different features and the properties of the person that I'm talking about. Pause the video and point to the person who you think it is. Hopefully you pointed to the boy named Charlie. Well done, give yourself a pat on the back if you got the answer correct. Tamsin and Charlie, you are superstars. Now, what I want you to do for the final part of this activity is if you want to have a go, pause the video and look at the board, come up with 3 clues for your parents and see if your parents can guess the person that you're talking about. If you want to post a video of you having a go at this game, then that's fantastic. I will give you a wow dojo if you do that and post the video of you having a go at this Guess Who game. So pause the video if you want to have a go. I hope you all enjoyed playing that Guess Who game. It was nice and fun and light this morning to ease us back into learning. We're going to move on to what we're actually learning about today, and that is 2D shapes. It's really important that we understand what 2D means. Now, 2D shape is a form or outline which is flat. The D stands for the word dimensional. So, for example, I've just been around my house and I've found this simple 3D shape, okay, which is actually a cylinder. But if I look at the flat shape of this cylinder, we have a 2D shape on the face of this cylinder, which is, can anyone guess? It's a circle, of course. So 2D shapes are always flat. 2D shapes are flat. Always remember that. So think about these shapes that we've got on the board, and let's have a look through them to see if we can remember from year 2 what any of them are called. It is now time to introduce our 2D shapes that we're going to be looking at this week to master and to keep in our working memory to remember for the rest of our lives. So let's have a look at the first one. We have got triangle. Now, if we break this word down, the word tri, if you have a tricycle, you have 3 wheels. So how many sides do you think a triangle has? Of course, if you said 3 sides, a triangle, of course, has 3 sides. The next one, nice and easy, you will all remember this from year 2 and year 1. You have a square. Now, a square has 4 equal-sided shapes, so every side measures the same length. We have a hexagon. This is slightly harder to remember, but if we look at the first prefix at the start of that word, hex, it sounds a little bit like 6. So have a guess, how many sides do you think a hexagon has? Well done if you said 6 sides. Hexagon has 6 sides. Remember, hex sounds like 6. Pentagon. Now, a pentagon, it's quite hard to remember this, and you might have forgot how many sides it has since year 2. A pentagon, if you count the sides, it has 5. So remember, pentagon has 5 sides. Rectangle is very similar to square, but the difference is it doesn't have 4 equal sides. You have 2 sides that are the same length, and then you have 2 on the top which are slightly longer. So you've got 2 sides to the shape that have different lengths. Circle. Now, a lot of you always forget in a test, and it does trick you out sometimes. A circle, even though it's one big curved side, you need to remember that that circle only has one side, but it is one curved side. So a circle has one side to it. And then the last one, octagon. This is the biggest that we're going to look at in terms of sides. Now, if you break the word down, the prefix is oct. Now, think about an octopus. How many tentacles does an octopus have? Have a little think, pause the video and come up with an answer. Now, an octopus has 8 tentacles, so an octagon has 8 sides. It's an easy way to remember whenever you get into a test, so well done if you got that answer correct. Give yourself a pat on the back. So we have introduced all the shapes that we're going to be looking at that are 2D shapes. What we're going to do now is we're going to, thinking about our Guess Who game, we're going to be looking at the different properties that we're going to be coming up against in our 2D shapes. We can use the properties of a shape to describe or identify it. So a bit like our Guess Who game, in your test sometimes you might have to do a little bit of a Guess Who game to work out what the shape is that the test is describing. The properties of a 2D shape include the number of sides, like we've just looked at in each shape, but also we're going to introduce the word vertex, which is one corner, or vertices, which is more than one corner. So look at the picture. We've got a triangle for our example today. Now look at how many sides it is. Can you guess and count how many sides a triangle has, remembering from our last slide? Well done if you counted 3 sides. But then if we look at our new word that we've introduced, vertex, or vertices if there's more than one, how many vertices do we have on this triangle. So how many vertices or corners do we have on our triangle? Count them and come up with an answer. Pause the video. Of course, a triangle has 3 vertices. So well done if you got that correct. Give yourself a pat on the back. We've introduced the 2 different properties that we're going to be focusing on today to help us guess the shape that we're talking about. So, put this to test. I'm going to give you a couple of clues and you need to work out which shape that we've introduced previously am I talking about. So these are your clues. Which 2D shape has only one side but no vertices, which means corners? So have a little think. Which shape has one side but no vertices? Pause the video. If you want to go back to the slide where I have all the shapes introduced, then you can do that to help you with your answer. But think about the clues and come up with an answer. Pause the video. Here is our answer. So the 2D shape that has only one side and no vertices, which means corners, is, of course, a circle. Now, let's just break down that answer if you are a little bit confused as to how we all came up with the answer. If you can remember, a circle has one curved side. Now, to get a vertex or vertices, a shape has to have 2 straight sides that meet into the corner or vertex. If you look at a circle, they don't have any straight sides, which means it is impossible to have a vertex or vertices. So well done if you got the answer circle. My next guess the shape is, can you name 2 different 2D shapes that have both 4 straight sides and 4 vertices, which means corners? So have a little think. If you want to go back to the video where I introduce all the shapes, feel free to do that. If you're confident, then pause the video and come up with the 2 different shapes that have 4 straight sides and 4 vertices, which means corners. Pause the video and come up with 2 different shapes. So, well done if your first answer was a square. Let's just look at a square now. It has 4 sides, remember, and if you've got 4 sides that are all straight, you should have 4 vertices. So well done if your first answer was a square, and then your final answer should have been a rectangle. A rectangle, the same as a square and similar to a square, it has 4 straight sides, and if you have 4 straight sides with no curved sides, then you would have 4 vertices. So well done if you came up with the 2 answers, square and rectangle. Give yourself a pat on the back. Moving on, it's really important that we understand sometimes in tests we might be tricked. People that make the tests sometimes like to test our knowledge and to see if we can come up with answers that are out of the box. If you look at your screen now, what shape are all of these on the screen? Pause the video and come up with an answer. You will notice that although they are all different shapes, sizes and colours, they are all triangles. It doesn't matter what size or which way up they are. It really doesn't matter. It's really important that we stick to the knowledge that we've just learned about properties, and we can count that all these shapes have 3 sides, which means they have 3 vertices. So well done if you remember these are all triangles, all different shapes and sizes, but stick to what we know about properties. They all have 3 straight sides and 3 vertices. So well done if you've got that correct. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to show a model how we would work out how many sides a shape has in a test or in your maths book if we're doing it at school. So to count the sides, we need to count all the straight sides, but if a shape does have curved sides, we also need to not forget to count them. So whenever we're counting them on paper, we would draw a simple line. So let's count together. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and finally 8. We haven't finished the question though. What I want you to do is, it's got 8 sides. You'll notice that I have drawn as straight as possible lines because I'm on my board, but at home you could use a ruler to make it even neater. I've drawn 8 straight lines to show it has 8 sides. Now, can anyone remember which 2D shape has 8 sides? Pause the video and come up with an answer. Which shape has 8 sides? Well done if you came up with the answer octagon. Now an octagon, remember the first part of the word is oct. An octopus have 8 tentacles, so that means an octagon has 8 sides. Remember we counted 8 sides, which means if I circle all the vertices, all the corners, if I circle them all, we will have 8 vertices because we have 8 straight sides. So well done if you came up with the answer 8 sides and octagon. I am now going to introduce you maybe to a new word that you might not have heard of before in year 2. The word is polygon. You have a go at saying it, polygon. Now a polygon is a name given to all 2D shapes with straight sides that are fully closed, which means all of the sides are joined up, but they must be straight. If we break down the word polygon, the prefix poly just means many. So for example, we have many straight sides. Someone tell me, or have a little think, pause the video, why is a circle not classed as a polygon? Why is a circle not classed as a polygon? Think about the definition. Pause the video. Now, the reason a circle is not a polygon is in the definition. It says a 2D shape with all straight sides. Okay? That means a circle has curved side, which means it can't be a polygon. So for example, we've got an octagon, we've got a triangle, we've got a pentagon, we have got a square, a rectangle, and finally a hexagon. All these shapes here are fully closed with straight sides and there are no curved sides. So well done if you answered the question about the circle. It cannot be a polygon because it has a curved side. Our next big word that I'm going to introduce to you is quadrilateral. Now, you have a go at saying it, quadrilateral. Pause the video and say it 3 times. A quadrilateral, if we break down the word, the first prefix of the word quad means 4. So if you think about a quad bike has 4 wheels, okay? 4 wheels. Now, when I was at university, if you look at the thigh muscle, so the top of your leg, you have a quadricep. Now, a quadricep means it has 4 main muscles at the top of your leg. So you've got 4 different muscles on your thigh at the front. So quadrilateral is a name given to all 2D shapes with 4 straight sides and 4 vertices. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on the main 2 shapes that we've looked at today. We've got a square and we've got a rectangle. Now a square and rectangle, we know it has 4 straight sides and 4 vertices, which means it is a quadrilateral shape. So well done if you said and you pronounced the word quadrilateral correct. We've introduced all of our shapes now. We know how to look for the different properties by counting the sides and vertices, or vertex if there's only one, which means corners. What I want you to do now is I want you to look at the different shapes and I want you to count the sides and come up with an answer of what each shape is. So what's the name of each shape? I'm going to do one example and then I'm going to let you pause the video and I want you to come up with the names of every shape that is on there. So my example, we're going to focus on the blue shape. So everyone point to the blue shape. The first thing I need to do whenever I'm looking at a shape to identify the name is I need to count each side that the shape has. So let's count together. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 sides. So this blue shape has 5 sides. Same again, I want you to count to the vertex, so the corner, the vertices, if there's more than one. Let's count together. So start at the top of the shape. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've got 5 vertices. Remember, if you want to draw lines on them and circle the vertices, it will help you to then not make a mistake and count the same vertices twice. You can do that. So we've got a shape that is blue, but it has 5 sides and it has 5 vertices. Can anyone think, pause the video, what's the name of this shape that has 5 sides and 5 vertices? Pause the video and come up with an answer. Well done if you remembered. The shape that has 5 sides and 5 vertices is a pentagon. If you got that answer correct and you wrote it down on a piece of paper, or if you printed out these slides and wrote it on there, then make sure that you put it on portfolio and we can mark it and give you loads of dojos for your efforts today. Your next task is to do exactly what we have just done and I have modelled. I want you to go through each shape and I want you to count how many sides are in each shape and how many vertices, and I want you to come up with an answer and the correct name for each shape. Remember, these shapes are all different sizes and they might have been turned to confuse you, but use your knowledge on how we look at the properties to identify each name. I just want to point out that the purple shape is not a square. You need to look closely at the purple sides and the purple vertices to help you come up with an answer of what the name is for that shape. So pause the video and have a go at that activity. Unfortunately and sadly, we have come to the end of Mr. Craig's maths lesson today on our Marvellous Monday Maths. But I am really impressed by how many people are posting on their dojo's accounts and making sure that they're getting as many dojos as they can from their maths lesson. Same again, I'm going to leave you with some key questions that are testing all the different skills that you have learnt today in our maths lesson. So if you are struggling to answer any of these questions, go back to the slides that will help you answer these and find the key skills that will help you get some dojos. Do not forget, pause the video and use these questions if you want to write them down, or As usual, we will be uploading to your online timetable the different slides to help you if you want to print them off and write them on the slides. That's absolutely fine. Make sure that you upload them to your portfolio and you get as many dojos as you can on this marvelous Monday Maths. I am very impressed, and as usual, I always love teaching you on a Monday. Have a lovely week of learning, and I hope to see all your fantastic work being uploaded. It is bye from now from Mr. Craig.